I view the really outstanding PR man of history as a young Italian named Antonio Pigafetta, Pigafetta. Pigafetta was a young Italian who, of a good family, but his parents died, and his uncle got him a visit to the Vatican to go to the Pope and say, give me a job. He was a clever student and a good writer, so the Pope said, well, go with the delegation I'm sending to Spain. That made him international right off. I liked him from the beginning. He went to Spain, and he was secretary to the Archbishop, who was the papal nuncio to Spain. When one day the nuncio called him in and said, I've got a letter here. There's a guy named Magellan, I should say, Magellan, who's going to make a trip. He claims maybe around the world, and we ought to have somebody on that trip, sort of like a spy and somebody to make a recording of it. So Pigafetta said, I'm your guy. I already liked him again because he was adventurous. He goes down to southern Spain, near Seville, Valladolid, in fact, and joins, and Magellan says, I don't need anybody from the church going with me around the world. And Pigafetta said, yeah, but I got a piece of paper here that says you're going to have to take me. And besides, he said, I'm pretty clever. I'll keep the log and write you a good story about the trip. Ah, says Magellan, good idea. So he was hired on as the log keeper, and he sailed off with the 5 ships that left Spain. And they sailed across the Atlantic, and they went down the coast of Brazil, and they went along the coast of Argentina, and everywhere they went, Pigafetta got off the boat, and he wrote down words of the local vocabulary. Everybody else was looking for fruit to eat, and nuts, and animals to eat, and fresh water. Pigafetta was looking for the languages. Finally, of course, one ship sank, another was deserted, and 3 got around the bottom of South America and sailed off across the endless Pacific and didn't do too well. Well, 2 of them made it. And they landed in the Philippines, what later became the Philippines, the island of Cebu. In the island of Cebu, Magellan got off the boat, tried to mediate a quarrel between 2 local chiefs, one of them named Lapu-Lapu, with Pigafetta standing beside him, and Magellan was killed. So the others hustled back on the ship and sailed off and continued. And they eventually completed the trip around the bottom of Africa and up to, took almost 3 years. And when they landed in Spain, they all went to church to give thanks, and then they went up to their respective homes and so on. Pigafetta went up to the bishop that had sent him in the first place and made a report. They were thrilled. And the bishop said, you better go up to Germany where they can print books, and you better write a book about this. This is exciting. So Pigafetta first sent out a kind of a press release of the day, a short account, and then he wrote the book with the cooperation of, I won't mention all the people, but anyway, he got it published, which was the first notice to the world that the world is round. This was the first ships that had gone around the world, and he was the one who announced it to the world. That's a big press release. And it took a book. And then he went to home and to Italy. And after some months, he got bored and went to the Pope and said, I need another job. I like this guy. The Pope said, well, I got trouble down in the Mediterranean. The people down there having trouble with the pirates and with Arabs, killing them. Does that sound familiar? And what was the name of the island? Not Malta, but I forgot the name of the island. Anyway, Pigafetta went down there to do PR for the order of monks that was trying to hold the island, and there he was killed. Pigafetta's life is an outstanding example for me of international PR, because he published in his book these glossaries of languages. The first time Europeans had ever seen, or if you're going to try to do PR, you better have the words to do it with. He made the words. He knew, he understood that, you know. He had a terrific sense of it, and so he's my personal international PR hero.